we come back to studio and train our focus on matters mental health. This is still an ongoing conversation, and just taking cognizant of the mental health law, which was already assented from a bill to a law in June 2022 by the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. And part of what was to feature in this specific law is to see how best funds and finances can also cascade down to counties, and also for county bosses to prioritize matters of mental illness and to ensure they set aside specific budgets, even in their budgetary allocation process, that some part of it goes into mental health. And for the same, I have created FaceTime with Mercy Irungu, who is a psychologist, and from her practice also helping us understand where we are as a country as far as dealing with mental health issues in this country is concerned. Mercy, karibu sana to the program.
Asante.
And thank you for your patience.
Thank you too.
You've been there for some good amount of time.
Thank you.
But before we go to even where we are, whether these laws enacted are even working or not, there's something you're telling me, and I want to believe that not so many of us know that there's even a difference between these two. That is mental illness and mental health.
Yes.
There's actually a difference between these two things.
Yes, there is.
Which is?
Okay, fine. Now, mental health is the well state of the mind. Yeah, mental health is how do you wake up in the morning? Are you happy when you realize things are working for you? Are you able to go to work? Like today we are at work, so we are mentally healthy.
Yes.
Yeah. And when we come to mental illness is when things are not okay, you know. There's a problem maybe with the alteration of your sleep, how you eat, how you think, and how you behave. So the difference is mental health is when you're healthy mentally. Mental illness is when something is wrong, just like the way you feel a headache, like the way you have a stomach upset and stuff. So when we say somebody is mentally healthy, it means that they are coping well even when they have stress. When we say someone has mental illness, it means that there's something wrong with them. Maybe there's a job change, they have lost a loved one, there's something that has altered their mental states.
I get it now.
Yes.
So mental health is not the absence of something wrong. It is there, but your coping mechanisms are good.
Yes.
You are managing it well.
Yes.
And this is your practice.
Yes.
For how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this for the last 6 years.
For the last 6 years?
Yes. And I've seen mental health does not, it is for everybody. It is for everyone, because a child can suffer from a mental illness.
Yeah.
A grown-up also can suffer mental illness.
Yes.
A young person. So everybody is a candidate of mental illness.
I hear you.
Yes.
And from your practice, what are you seeing as the biggest causes of mental illnesses? And why I ask this question, Mercy, is because even right now in this 21st century as we speak, children as young as 5, 6, 7, 8, teens, 13 will tell you, I am stressed. And they will say, I am not okay. And the biggest question people would always ask is that, what are you paying for?
Yes.
A parent or a guardian would say, or someone would just say, you're being paid for everything. So what really is stressing your life?
Yeah, exactly. You've asked this question when I'm doing a research, and the research I'm doing is why are our children, the young children, 10 years and below, stressed because of gadgets, you know? Children are stressed because there's too much technology at their hands. Whenever a child wakes up, I'm sure even the young parents who are watching us, they give their children phones. There's a lot of technology. The 21st century the statistics have said, 51% of children in the world are on gadgets. That means they are more than the people who are working. Remember, the people who are working are the ones who should have, technology, because you're either using your phone, you're on your laptop, but kids as young as 10 years are on the gadgets. That means they get stressed, because once somebody is on technology for so long, they get bored. Currently, the children of today are bored. If they're not on technology, they actually don't have any other creative content in them. When we talk about the grown-ups, like young mothers, they are stressed because they have work-life balance. They're going to work, they have a family, you know, there's too much pressure at work, there's too much pressure at home, they sleep at 11, so causes, obviously, they will be stressed. What about bosses? Maybe you are a marketing director somewhere. You want your output to be seen. You want the company to go at a certain pedestal. You are stressed. So stress is everywhere, be it children, and not forgetting adolescents. Remember, adolescence age is the age whereby children get their identity.
Yeah.
And identity is gotten from a father or a mother or a father or a figure that is in the house. Currently, even the statistics are saying that families, most of them have single mothers. So you see, adolescents are not getting identity. And once an adolescent loses identity, they start getting stressed. Where did I come from? Who am I? You know, and that is why they would end up going to drugs to get identity. They would go to homosexual because they want identity. They would go to certain groups and gangs, and they become deviant. This is also a form of stress for the adolescents. So that sums up by saying that stress is across the board.
I hear you.
Yes.
And you've said, you know, a lot of things which we'll unpack momentarily as you continue this conversation, Mercy.
Yes.
But I just want to start with that particular percentage that you did mention. 51% of children, or kids, I should say, they're actually on tech, on technology, one form or the other. Could be social media or otherwise. And yes, you are juxtaposing that with the fact that you'd expect adults to be forming this percentage. But you realize now, even in the current education system that we have, this is just the way to go. You would find yourself on this social media platform, whether you like it as a kid or not. So then my question will be, Mercy, then, how do you regulate, even as a parent? How do you monitor? Because, I mean, the number and statistics of this depression cases of children as early as 10, 11 is really quite alarming.
Thank you so much. You see, during the baby boomers, those guys maybe who are in their 40s, and comparing to Generation Alpha and Generation Z. We
also have Alpha.
We have Alpha now.
So Alpha is after Z?
Yes.
Okay.
So Generation A, that is what we call it. It is actually, it knows tech. Its language is tech, you know? And so parents do not know how to regulate because they were not born with tech. Here comes tech, and here comes children. So what we are saying as psychologists is parents need to be present with their children. You know, parenting, how do you intentionally parent your children? If you have an 8 to 5 job, for example, make sure that you are home at 6, 7 to monitor your kids.
It is the practicability of this that I'm looking at, Mercy. And we almost had a similar discussion like this yesterday, and we were just talking about the fact that, I mean, look at it. Actually, any conversation you have right now, you really cannot miss to talk about the high cost of living. We don't even want to go about the proposed taxes that will now make parents to look for alternative means of livelihood to sustain. So if you tell them to ensure they spend time, you'll tell us from your practice how we can be able to do this, or how guardians, parents can do this, so that we can at least, in a way, in one or the other, even as a community, avert the numerous cases of mental issues and mental health altogether. But we are due for a break, Mercy. And as you mull over that and think about that, we take that very quick breather. We require with plenty more of this discussion. Don't go too far. A lot after this break. And just like that, we are back again. Very mini break it was, such a short break there. But we continue apace with our discussion, still holding court with Mercy Rungu, who's a psychologist, and just looking at mental health, mental illness, and where we are as a country in regards to dealing with because of the life demands and circumstances. But look at the ripple effect of this. The percentages we keep talking about of mental health cases, and particularly amongst even teenagers. We haven't even gone to the youth and the working bracket. What is a practical way to actually create this balance?
First of all, everybody came from a family.
Sure.
Let's start there. So how is this family? What are your rules and what are the goals of the family? What stage are we in a family? For example, if a family has young children, they already know that life is very demanding.
Yeah.
Because kids are, you have to take care of your kids, young children. When they grow like that, when they are grown-ups, there's even an empty nest whereby now parents are left without children and the children go and make their other homes. So how do we create that work-life balance? We're talking about creating time. During weekends, do you have time to take your children out for bouncing castle, for seeing their grandmothers, their aunties? Yeah, that is what you're talking about.
Yes.
What about, what do you do in a family? Do you play board games, for example, in the family? When you guys come home, you're so tired. Maybe even you got a side hustle. You're from your 8 to 5 job, then you enter into your side hustle up to 9. So by the time you reach home, it's 11. You're tired. You can't be a father of anybody or a mother of anybody. You're just tired. So we are saying that create a work-life balance. Get time for your family. Set up goals. How do we run this family? What time will my wife come home? What time will my husband come? My husband come home. How do we balance? Who will be with the kids? Because we have seen kids parenting themselves. And that is why we are having suicides. Children, teenagers are committing suicide because of boredom and they do not have anything. Nothing is exciting. They are not going for sports. We've just watched the Talanta, you know. There's no talent because the kids, they don't know anything except the gadgets and technology. Physical activity. We have seen obese children who cannot even run, who cannot be active because they are glued there. So the parent needs to tell how is the child during the whole day. We are just coming from holidays. Kids opened today and they're opening tomorrow. So I'm sure parents were very cautious during the holidays, checking on what are my children eating. That is nutrition. Where are they going? Who are their friends? You know? And us as parents, where do we go as a family? What rules do we set? What is our motto? What is our vision as a family? And what about the mission? How do we welcome guests? So when a parent is present in a child's life, they get to avoid that 51% of the gadget.
I hear you.
What about the parents? You have a job. If this job is too demanding, always they are therapists, you know, who will help you to cope with the, you know, everybody has 24 hours, isn't it?
Yes.
With your 24-hour clock, how can you divide it and say, these hours are for my boss, these are for my wife, these are for my husband, these are for my kids, and these are for myself. People need to know how to relax, you know, because if you don't have a sober mind, you will be stressed and will break down.
Yeah.
That is definitely.
I hear you.
Yes.
And 24 hours it is, that's the maximum. So it's just a matter of someone choosing to it's a deliberate decision to create that time.
Yes.
But also, I am seeing that there's anxiety and depression, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
You call my knowledge on that one as the leading causes of mental issues.
Yes.
Of all causes that there exist. What is so peculiar about this one?
Yeah, thank you so much. Currently, WHO, World Health Organization, statistics say 300 million all over the world, people are depressed. Kenya is the 5th in Africa with people who have or have shown signs and are depressed. So why are people depressed? It is because of stress. Depression is caused by a prolonged period of stress. If things are not working, for example, you lost a job, it will cause you feeling stressed. If this looking for a job takes so long, you will be depressed. Let's say you're looking for a spouse, you want to get married, you want to get a wife, a husband, a child, you know, you have to know what is the duration. So we say that the duration that it takes causes depression. And there's also anxiety. Anxiety is a feeling that you want something and you're not getting it. And we have good stress and bad stress. There's chronic stress, and this is what leads to depression. And so how do you know that a person has depression? It is because of that prolonged stress. You know, you'll see them talking by themselves on the road, their hygiene, you'll see they're not...
But isn't that healthy, Mercy?
Talking on the road?
Like you know, you're just having a conversation by yourself.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is healthy, but how... You see, we talked about mental health as you have the state of your mind is good. So if you're talking to yourself and your state of mind is good, then you're not depressed.
Also, you're good.
Yes. Yeah. But if you're talking to yourself and we are looking at you and saying, even the clothes are dirty, you've not taken a shower, and maybe someone has not, they have not worn right clothes, maybe the trouser is on top, the bottom, you know, those kinds of things. This is a sign of depression. And even mothers who give birth to children, they get postnatal depression because it's a drastic change. You know, you didn't have a child, you didn't have a living being, and now you have. The child is crying and you're the mother. So that is why people have postnatal depression. Yeah. Talk about people who go for substance abuse. It is because they have looked at all avenues and they're saying like there's no way out. So they look for a coping mechanism, which is drugs, alcoholism, and that one also causes them to get addicted. So stress and depression are related. And if people get so much stressed, you know, the other day we were looking at which is the happiest country in the world.
Kenya was amongst the the countries
which I don't want to mention. I don't think so.
Of course, Finland tops, Denmark tops this list, but Kenya is among the top countries that are happy.
Okay, yeah. Why?
But are we really happy?
That is the thing. How are we? Why is Finland happy, for example? Finland is happy because their systems are working.
Oh yeah, so they don't even have a problem when their tax is up to 58%. And you know, oftentimes we kept comparing ourselves to countries like Finland, Denmark, who actually tax almost up to 60%, whilst ours is just 30%, and you're thinking about increasing that to 35% for those that earn 500,000 and above, and you're saying
it's too high.
It's too high.
Definitely. It's because their systems are working. What would be the problem?
So it makes them happy.
If you're taxed high and your systems are working.
You are right. You can imagine if you're taxed even that 35% and you go to a hospital facility and you don't have to think about creating a WhatsApp group to finance the extra amount that they're asking for. You can imagine if structures are working on the roads, everyone knows how they're supposed to be using and their lanes, it's working. You can, just keep on, because I can give examples till the end.
You are giving the right examples, actually, because even the retirees of this country, you find a retired person, they have worked, it's a civil servant.
Haven't teachers been complaining yesterday about pension?
You see? So the systems ain't working, and that is a cause of stress.
It is true.
Yeah, so we're talking about depression and anxiety. There's also something else called, there's a mental health state that is called schizophrenia. Now that is psychotic, that is now mental. That one, it goes to the psychiatrists. There's something I would like to mention about mental, because this country, when people hear mental health, they think it is, you know, what is mental health? They would think it is your mental state is bad. You're getting out of hands.
I hear you. I hear you, Mercy.
And that is a myth. That is a myth. Everybody is vulnerable. Everybody has one or two of mental alterations which can be altered when detected early.
I hear you, Mercy, and I really have to cut you short at that particular point. Like, there's quite a lot we need to discuss, like the myths that you talked about, the percentages where we are, funds cascading down to counties and where we are with that, if at all this law is working or not. But I'm so sorry, we have to head over back to KNT. Director needs to call you back again. We take this. We have to cross over back to the Kenya Cultural Center, where the CS Youth Affairs, Sports and Arts is speaking. This is in relation to the ongoing Talanta Hela Logo Awards.